Hi and welcome to the first video on linear relationships. Today's video we'll be looking at chapter 4.1, which is linear relationships and equations. My assumption is that you've done a lot of this in the past, so I've just done a couple of questions for you, just to so you can refer back to if you get stuck. Now, really quickly, here's some of the background information about this, even though you probably have already known it. Here's a little bit more of the theory. So back in grade 4, maybe grade 5, you would have been shown this little word, BOMDAS. Now, some of you might be saying it's BODMAS, but it's BOMDAS, and I'll tell you why in just a second. Now that means that when you're doing an equation, when you're doing a calculation, you always have to do the brackets first, then your of, or your percentages and indices and that sort of thing. Then your multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. But that's if you're actually trying to work out, going from left to right in an equation to find the answer. If you're actually trying to find an unknown, like we're going to be doing down here or down here, we're actually not doing an operation, we're doing an inverse operation. Inverse operation. I'm not going to fit anyway. Now that means that I guess really quickly, if there's a multiplication sign in our equation, we have to do the opposite or the inverse, which is a division sign. And I'll go through this a little bit later. Hopefully you already get it anyway. If you see a division sign, then you have to do the inverse operation, which is a multiplication sign. When there's an addition sign, subtraction, and otherwise. So we're actually kind of doing the opposite or the inverse of the original function, which means we can't go brackets of multiplication, division. We actually have to do the reverse to, I guess, undo everything that's happening to our unknown y or x or whatever it is. So we're actually going to do the reverse, which is going to be this. And the reason it's BOMDAS rather than BODMAS is that the reverse is SADMOB, which is much better than SAMDOB. So that's why it's BOMDAS. Anyway, if you didn't understand any of that, then that's not too bad, as long as you can kind of follow on with the rest of it. I've just chosen a couple of questions which I'm going to do here. These are taken from your textbook. So I'm wanting to find out what the value of n is. Now, I could use guess and check, but really that's an old school method. We can actually find out what it is. I could use my calculator as well, but I don't want to. I'm going to actually work this out by hand. So I'm going to have to undo everything that's happening to the n. Now, as you can see here, the n has been multiplied by -4, and it's also, I guess that has been, the -4 times n has been subtracted from 9, and that gives us the answer of 5. So what I want to do is I want to get this 9 over to the other side, because I just want n's on this side. Again, I'm making a couple of assumptions. If you don't understand it, please let me know. So I'm actually going to subtract 9 on both sides, and I'm going to get -4n equals -4. Okay, 5 minus 9 is -4. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both sides by -4, because that's what is happening to n. N is being multiplied by -4, so I'm going to divide both sides by -4, and I get the answer as n equals 1. Okay, I can go back and check, and that I should get the right answer. You can almost guarantee yourself full marks in this test, because you can substitute that number back in and prove that it's actually correct. When you've got something a little bit more tricky, when you've got a division sign here, you have to go through your SADMOB process, which means I can't do the divide by, I can't do the multiply, I need to do the subtraction first. So I subtract 3 on both sides, I multiply 2 on both sides, and then finally I'm going to divide by 7 on both sides. So I'll do it in 3 different steps. I'll get 7y over 2 equals, interesting, I'm going to get 3 minus 3, which is 0. Very fascinating. And then multiply both sides by 2, and I get 7y equals 0, and then divide both sides by 7, I get y equals 0. Fascinating. I guess that I should have seen that at the start, because 3 equals 3, and this thing has to therefore be 0. Well, there you go, a nice little tricky question for us. Okay, the last, no, I've got a couple more questions, but this will be the last question for this video, and then I'll do the rest of them in the next one. For this one here, I've got, as you can see, I've got A on this side and A on this side. I need to get all of my A's on one side, So a is on one side and my numbers on the other. Okay, so that's what I'm going to try and do. But I've also got brackets, so I need to expand the brackets first, to get rid of them, and then I'll be able to complete the question. So we've got 7a plus 14, which is, and that's equal to 4a minus 2. Just remembering that you multiply that by that, that by that, that by that, that by that. I'm sorry, I'm making a lot of assumptions in this, but I guess my assumption is that you guys have done this sort of thing in the past. These questions are just a little bit trickier, but you understand the theory of them. If that's not a good assumption, please ask me to teach you a little bit more about it. So now I need to get all of the a's on one side, so I'm going to subtract 4a on both sides. Okay, so I'm going to get 3a plus 14, which is equal to 4a minus 4a is 0, and I'll just get negative 2. Now I'm going to subtract 14 on both sides, and I get 3a equals negative 16. Okay, and now I'm going to divide both sides by 3, and I get a equals negative 16 on 3. Don't try and put it into a decimal. I like fractions. That would be good to keep it like that. Okay, and sometimes you're not going to get a whole number. So hopefully that has made a little bit of sense for you, and in the next video I'm going to do a couple of questions from question 3. So thanks for watching.